Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Keto Mom page. My name is Stephanie, and we're going through this book called At Your Best. If you've been following along, I have not been time managing well enough to be consistent with this book, meaning we haven't gone from day to day. It's been like a day, then the weekend, then a day, then I had an appointment. So I apologize. And we're on chapter 3. So if you have the book, and if you have been in this challenging spot where you need to work on your time management, managing your energy and your priorities, that's what this book is about. It's about how do we make sure we do the things that we want to do and have to do. He really talked in the beginning of the book about how most people have the life that they had always dreamed. They have the home and the car and the kids and the career, and then yet they still complain about not having time, or they just complain about the lack of energy, time management, or their priorities. And he goes, except for when you actually think about it, they all have what they wanted. How can we make sure we utilize our time, our energy, and our priorities effectively? That's the point of this book. So if that resonates with you, oh, you know what? I actually forgot to turn my phone on. I wonder if you guys can see me while I'm doing this. I need to make it so people can't call me because, okay, I'm screwing around on my phone. All right, good morning. Say good morning. How are you doing? If you're watching live, it's, what is it, Tuesday? It is a Tuesday. Can you believe how fast this month is going? It's almost, well, we skip Halloween. We don't like it. Don't be offended. Not everybody has to like it. So I'm like, Thanksgiving is around the corner. I am planning Thanksgiving. I'm planning all of the fun stuff with the family. I need to know if you're on. So tell me if you can hear me, actually, because I do feel like sometimes my internet is sketchy and sometimes my phone is funny. So I hope you're having an incredible morning. Time is flying way too fast. We often might find ourselves saying, I don't have enough time. So if you're tuning in and this is the book that you're interested in, it really is a great book. In chapter 3, here's what it talks about. I'm going to give you the overview, and hopefully something makes you think about something, ponder about something, have an awareness of something in your life. I love that you can hear me. Thank you, Diane. All right, here's what it says. On any given day, I have precisely the same amount of time as any other person on planet Earth. He tells a story, and he said, one day I randomly just thought to myself, I have the same amount of time in my day as the president has. And he goes through like some of the things he was complaining about, and then he was like, oh my goodness, but the president in the same amount of time has to manage the world, right? He's got to manage so many things. So he just was like, we all have the same amount of time, and yet we find ourselves saying things, which I'll tell you in a second. So to finish this part, he says, when it comes to time, you and I are rich. In fact, we're loaded. Time doesn't discriminate. He goes, with 2 exceptions, the day that you are born and the day that you die, everyone gets exactly the same amount of time. And so he goes, oftentimes, you know, I even get it on here. People will say things. Let me go to the page. They'll say, sorry, I didn't make time for it. You know, have you ever had a friend go, oh, sorry, I just didn't make time? Nope. Your kids might say, I didn't get my schoolwork done. I didn't have time. Hey, I didn't go to the gym. I didn't have time. I didn't prep my meals. I didn't have time. I didn't have the chance to get it done. I wasn't able to finish it. I just can't. I wish I could. It's impossible. He goes, those are phrases that a lot of people say, and yet we all have time for what we make time for. He goes, what happens if you switched it, and instead of using the excuse, you said this to yourself? I actually had the time. I didn't make the time. I had the chance to get it done. I just didn't want to. I was able to finish it. I just didn't do it. I could, but I chose not to. It's not impossible. I didn't make time for it. I'm open to not meeting. I'm deciding to not work out. I'm choosing to not go to the school play. I'm choosing to watch football instead of prep food. I'm choosing to sit on the couch because I'm tired instead of go to the gym. I'm choosing to hit the snooze button and not get up and plan my lunch, so therefore I go through the drive-thru. Sounds different, doesn't it? He shares a lot of stories, and here's the overview, which I think is great, and it really gives you a different perspective on your choices and how you're, like, the results that you're wanting in life is a result of the choices and your mindset and the things you're saying. You might be like, I actually don't have time, and then again, you have time for what you make time for. He goes, I read this part. When it comes to time, you are rich, right? We all have the same amount of time. Whether it's me, stay-at-home mom, you, a CEO, somebody who does something else, or a teacher, or the president. We all have the same amount of time. He goes, the opportunities available to a capable person always exceeds the time available. These are kind of the highlights of this chapter. Time doesn't grow, it won't expand, which is why time management brings you diminishing returns. You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you can't have both. So, even just being aware of the thoughts you're thinking and the words you're speaking, and if all we're doing is talking about your health, how often do you find yourself saying, I don't have time. I don't have time. The gym, meal prepping, tracking your food. I often give people that excuse and I'll say, it's not a big deal. If you don't want to track your food. Like, this is one of the biggest things that people say, well, I don't want to take time to track my food. I don't want to do that. And yet they're still carrying the extra 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. And there was a lot of people that messaged me going, I need to lose anywhere from 50 to 100 pounds. And yet when I say, you probably should track your food at least for a couple weeks to have an awareness of what you're eating. Because obviously just making better choices right now is not working. And then usually they say, I just don't want to. I don't have time to do that. Right? How often do we use that excuse? And now that you know. And once you're aware, you can't go back. So sometimes we're talking with our friends and we're sharing what we're learning. We have an incredible group of friends and we're like, what's God teaching you? What are you learning? What books are you reading? And then sometimes our friend will go like this. I don't want to know. Don't tell me because then I'm held accountable for it. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that because once you know, and then you can't ever go back because you know. I mean, if you've been here for years, I've said this many times, like, you know how to get started. You know how to choose better foods. It's really not rocket science. Like, there is an aspect of the keto diet and then just choosing better foods. You know to drink more water, to get your sleep, to move your body. You know what to do. If there was never another podcast or a book or a person to watch online, and if all we're doing is talking about your health, you know what to do. Right? Would you agree? Let me know. If you feel like that, like, yes, give me a thumbs up. Like, yes, and yet, I tell people, you've heard me say this. You've heard me talk about how much water to drink. You've heard me say, plan your meals for the week. You've heard me say, like, take the buns off your burgers. You've heard me say things like that. You know. My friend will go, no, don't tell me because then I know. Right? You know. It's all boils down to, are you going to take the time to take care of your health? Not use the excuse. Will you do it? So, stop saying you don't have the time and start admitting that you don't make the time. It's good awareness. Most people who accomplish significant things aren't balanced people, they're passionate people. And then lastly, he says, balanced people don't change the world, passionate people do. So that was that chapter. The book is really great because he gives you activities to do. He talks about like your priorities, your dream list, things you want to do, and he helps you prioritize it in your time. So if this is something that you're like, you know what, I actually need help with this, I would encourage you to get the book and actually do the activities in the book. And yeah, it's great. So this is the book we're going through. Hopefully it brought you some type of awareness this morning. Here's the deal. I will help you. I will help you with your food. I'll give you our recipes and ideas. If you send me a message, you're going to get a message back. And some of it just boils down to not making excuses and not saying I don't have time to do it and just making the time to do it. So with that awareness, if you're looking for recipes, how to get started, any books that we've done in the past, go to ketomomsecrets.com. Continue to tune into the page. I'm always here to help. It's going to be a great day. I get to go homeschool my children. I hope you guys have a great morning, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.